Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Once Upon a Crescent, a collection of bedtime stories for young Muslim children. I am your author and storyteller, Mrs. Hashmi. Are you ready to travel to a land far, far away? Tonight's bedtime story is called Mayhem at the Masjid. Zayd and Zaynab begged their mom to take them to the masjid for today's tarawih. Mama, we will know all the surahs that the Imam recites today. It's the short ones now that the Quran is almost done. We have to go to today's event, Mama, please. Mama looked at Baba, who seemed unsure. She spoke gently to her kids. Look, my loves, sometimes it gets too crowded at the masjid, and the traffic of all the cars makes it very hard to leave on time. We can go to another masjid that doesn't have their fundraising event. What do you think? She asked Baba. Baba stared at his kids. They began to pout and frown and make cute puppy faces. The fundraising event is such a nice Ramadan experience. It's all part of the Ramadan feels. We have to go, but we have to stay safe at the masjid, okay? Both kids nodded their heads quickly. Mama interrupted. I have to talk about this. I like this idea of safety. Okay, we can do this, but there are 3 rules you have to follow if we go to the masjid event. Number 1, absolutely no playing in the parking lot where the cars are. So many people come in and out of the parking spots. That's not a place for kids to be roaming around. Number 2, if anyone offers you food, say Jazakallah khairan, but you have to bring it to me before eating it. Both of you have allergies, so we have to make sure it's okay for you to eat it. Number 3, let us know where you are going all the time, every time. And be inside the masjid when you hear the imam make the announcement for witr. Baba liked this plan. Yes, when the fundraiser happens, you all can be outside, but during Salah, you have to come inside. That will be a good time to come in and recharge. Zayd and Zaynab ran off to get their masjid clothes on. Zayd put on a thobe and placed his topi on top of his head neatly. Zaynab slipped on her masjid kid-sized abaya and pushed her face through a sparkly pink hijab. When they arrived at the masjid, the parking lot was so full, there was no space to park in the regular parking lot. They had to drive off to another side of the masjid and park in a grassy area. Zayd was smiling at Zaynab, who was also smiling back right at him. Zaynab, let's do the swings first, Zayd suggested excitedly. No, let's go to the slides and then the monkey bars. Mama and Baba looked at their kids and reminded them. Remember the safety rules, no parking lot, no eating until you bring it to Mama, and be inside when you hear the witr announcement after the fundraising. Okay, Mama, okay, Baba, see you guys later. Zaynab and Zayd skipped to the playground together, trying to go their fastest speed in their masjid clothes. So many children were playing together. Some were playing tag. Some were exploring the dirt and muddy areas. Some were by the bushes looking for frogs and slugs. Some were just enjoying the breezy weather on the swings. Watch out! Yelled a boy from far away. A big red ball landed right on Zaynab's head. It bumped her out of balance and she fell to the side. The boy came running towards them. I'm so sorry. I'm so very, very sorry. I said watch out, but of course you couldn't hear me. And then, I'm so sorry, said the boy. He grabbed his ball and apologized over and over again to Zaynab. He looked to Zayd, who was helping his sister off the floor. Are you okay? He asked in a small voice to Zaynab. I'm okay, Zaynab mumbled. Oh no, you're all muddy, Zaynab. We need to get you cleaned up. Zayd guided his sister back to the masjid to the bathrooms. That kid looked like he was really sorry, but I'm still really mad that my abaya is all dirty and gross, said Zaynab to her brother. They both entered the wudu area on the women's side. Zaynab looked up in awe of all the women standing in front of the sinks. each of them readjusting their hijabs in front of the mirrors. They had all finished their wudu and they were getting ready for prayer. Zaynab admired the different colors of hijabs and the different ways that it was worn. Some wore it as a long shawl. Some had a turban. Some were neatly pinned and draped. Others were simple and had an easy slip-on like hers. Zaynab sat down at the wudu area and washed off the side of her abaya that had dirt on it. She looked to the lady next to her doing wudu and exclaimed, "Mama, you're here." "Yes, I am. What happened to you, my love?" "Oh, me and Zayd were at the playground and I got hit by a ball and I fell. So Zayd brought me here so I could clean up my abaya." Zayd was waiting for his sister by the door. "Oh no, Zaynab, are you okay? Did you get hurt?" "I'm okay, just a little wet and dirty, that's all." "Here, I'll take your abaya and put it in my bag. You can go with your regular clothes on." "Okay, but I want to keep my hijab on, Mama. It didn't get dirty," said Zaynab. Zaynab paused for a second. "Mama, how come you don't wear your hijab like that?" Zaynab said as she pointed to an auntie. This auntie was wearing a brightly colored, long printed hijab on. The auntie smiled and walked over to Zaynab. "It is beautiful, isn't it? I got this from Nigeria when I visited my mother last month." The auntie smiled and patted Zaynab's head as she put on her slippers to exit the wudu area. Maybe I will try that style next time we come to the masjid. Zayd, come here." Mama waved at Zayd. "Now, where will you both be playing? Remember our rule? You have to let us know where you're going." Zayd thought for a second. We'll stay right on the playground." "Okay, sounds good," Mama said. Zayd and Zaynab headed to the playground when the same boy from earlier approached them. "Oh, you're all cleaned up, huh? I'm sorry again for the ball hitting you. Do you both want to play with me and my friends?" the boy asked eagerly. "My name is Omar, and we were playing monkey in the middle on this side." Zayd looked at his sister, who seemed to return to her cheerful self again. "Sure, let's play," Zaynab said. Omar led the way. Zaynab found the big red ball that hit her earlier. She took the ball in her arms and squatted down. Her knees were bent, and she crouched down and touched the floor with one hand and held the ball with the other. "Ooh, ooh, 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 ooh." Zaynab was perfectly imitating a monkey. Omar looked at Zayd and raised one eyebrow at him. What is your sister doing, Zayd?" Zayd looked really embarrassed. I don't think she knows how to play monkey in the middle." Zayd walked over to Zaynab and shook his head. "Zaynab, what are you doing?" "I'm playing monkey in the middle," Zaynab said cheerfully. "Zaynab, that's not how you play monkey in the middle, actually. No one is actually a monkey in the game. It's just someone in the middle trying to catch a ball. The middle person makes sure that the other side doesn't catch it." "Oh," said Zaynab. "Well, then why is it even called monkey in the middle? Shouldn't it just be person in the middle?" Zayd laughed. "Yes, you are right. Okay, Zaynab, I'll show you how to play so you don't do those funny monkey noises again." Zayd demonstrated the game to Zaynab, who watched on the sidelines for 2 turns. When it was finally her turn, Zaynab felt excited to finally play with them. The boys were passing the ball way above her head, and she felt defeated. This went on for a few turns. Zayd noticed his sister's face dropping and quickly announced, "Hey guys, let's not make it so challenging. Throw it kind of at her level and at her height." After Zayd's suggestion, Zaynab was much happier playing the game and even catching the ball a few times. One of the boys in their group had to leave home early, so he took his big red ball and headed to the parking lot where his dad was waiting. Now what?" asked Zaynab to Omar and Zayd. Omar spoke. "Oh, let's see if there's any goodie bags left on those tables." So the 3 of them went on a hunt to find goodie bags at the masjid. As they approached the tables, Omar sighed in disappointment. "I was planning on picking one up from here, but I forgot, and now they're all gone." A little boy sitting at the table held on to his goodie bag tightly. He looked at Zaynab for a second and smiled. He dug his hands inside his bag and took out 3 pieces of chocolate and offered them to the kids. Zayd saw that the chocolates were actually M&Ms with peanuts inside. "Oh, that's okay, buddy. Jazakallahu khairan. My sister and I are allergic to peanuts, so we can't eat them. You eat it." "Oh, and I'm not a chocolate fan, actually," Omar added. The boy shrugged his shoulders and popped the M&Ms in his mouth and walked off. Zaynab made a suggestion. "Hey, why don't we just go back to the playground?" she said. Omar and Zayd accepted defeat and headed back to the playground. While Omar was leading the way towards the side of the playground, Zayd looked at something that caught his eye. Donuts! There was a box of donuts on a table nearby. The table had free food for kids to enjoy. "Ooh, this masjid is awesome," Zayd said. "Let's grab a donut first," Zayd suggested. The auntie with the vibrant hijab who Zaynab was admiring in the bathroom was sitting next to the box of donuts. She smiled up at the kids and pushed the box of donuts near the kids so they could choose from it. Zaynab smiled back at the auntie, still admiring her beautiful hijab. As Zaynab stretched her arm out to reach for the donut, Omar stuck out his arm in front of her. He looked at Zaynab and whispered, "No, don't. They're weird." Zayd looked confused. "Huh? No, they're not. They look exactly like how donuts should look. I want the chocolate icing one." He moved Omar's arm to the side. Omar kept his arm in place with more force and strength and shushed Zayd. "Shh, no, I mean that lady. She looks weird." Zaynab froze and looked at Omar, who was trying his hardest to hurry Zayd and Zaynab away from the auntie's table. Omar stood in front of them and walked them to the side. Zaynab was feeling hurt, confused, and angry. She looked at Omar and finally spoke. "She doesn't look weird. That's how my mom looks." Omar stood quietly. He stared at his shoes. He didn't want to look at Zayd or Zaynab in the face. "Your mom?" he asked in a whisper. Zayd stood next to his sister. "Yes, our mom. Our mom looks like that, auntie." Zaynab interrupted, determined to explain things to Omar. "Our mom is like dark chocolate, and our dad is like white chocolate. Our skin color is somewhere in the middle. That's why we look like you." Zaynab extended her arm out to show Omar. Omar looked down at the skin on his own arm, then at Zaynab's. "I don't know why I said that. I hear grown-ups sometimes, and they don't sound nice when talking about other people that look differently. And I guess I thought that maybe, what if it was true?" Zayd touched Omar's arm gently. "It's not true, Omar." Zayd and Omar sat down on a concrete bumper. Zayd explained to Omar, "Allah created all of us beautifully different. Our colors are awesome and it's unique. Imagine if everyone looked the same. Wouldn't that be weird or boring? We wouldn't like collecting the same Lego character over and over again. Imagine having a whole room full of the same Lego person. How boring would that be? Like every ninja looked exactly the same, or every superhero looked exactly the same." Omar started laughing. "Yeah, I wouldn't want that. It's cool to have different looking ones." "See, looking different is cool," Zayd said. Zaynab interrupted again. She was determined to explain things properly to Omar. "And it's how Allah created us," she said. Zayd chuckled at his sister and helped Omar off the bumper. A bright light flashed at the kids and a loud honk was heard. "Oh, we can't be in the parking lot, Zayd. Remember Mama's masjid rules? We need to go." The kids quickly jumped over the parking spot and into the cement area near the tables where the donuts were. Zayd looked at Omar and said, "Okay, we're going to get our donuts from that auntie, okay? And you're going to say salam when picking yours up. She's like anyone else, okay?" Omar shook his head. They stood in front of the auntie and she spoke. "I saved these for you. They almost ran out, you know." The auntie opened up the box, and inside the box were the 3 exact favorite donuts of the kids. Chocolate icing for Zayd, sprinkles for Zaynab, and classic plain glazed for Omar. Omar jumped and said, "Assalamu alaikum, auntie, this one is my favorite. How did you even know to save this one?" The auntie smiled and patted Omar's head. "Maybe Allah wanted you to have a special treat." Zayd looked at Zaynab, who was already halfway done eating her sprinkled donut. "Zaynab, you forgot about the other safety rule, the one about food." Her face was stuffed. "Oh no," she said with a mouthful. "Auntie, are there any nuts in here?" she asked quickly. "No, none at all," she replied as she handed Zaynab a napkin. The kids walked while enjoying their very differently looking donuts. Zayd heard the announcement for Witr Salah. "Zaynab, listen, they're making the announcement. We need to go back inside." They all listened to the Imam over the loudspeakers. "Brothers and sisters, come together to pray. Come, shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet. Remember the ayah of the Quran that we just spoke about in our fundraising event. Among Allah's signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the creation of the different languages and skin colors of people. In this are signs for the people who reflect." Omar looked at his new friends quietly. He turned around to look at the auntie. Omar waved at her and smiled. His smile stretched from ear to ear. "Can I stand next to you, Zayd, when we pray inside?" Omar asked. Zayd tugged Omar's arm along to the men's side. Zaynab found her mom upstairs inside the masjid, and she sat next to her mom. Zaynab took her caramel-colored hands and tucked them inside her mother's lap. Her mom touched her arm softly and asked, "Zaynab, why are there sprinkles on your arm?" Zaynab couldn't stop giggling at this question. "There are sprinkles there because I ate a sprinkled donut with Zayd and this new boy. His name is Omar. You know, Mama, that new boy, he didn't understand that it's awesome for people to be different colors. And then Zayd had to explain that being the same color is boring. And Zayd said it was like having the same Lego or superhero or ninja. And he kept talking about toys. But then I added that we're different because that's how Allah made us. Mama, that was the right thing to say, right? Sometimes Zayd needs my help to explain things. Right, Mama?" she asked proudly. Mama was both confused and amused at Zaynab's summary of the evening. Mama was just about to reply to her question. But Zaynab was not done talking. She continued on. "Mama, we're all colorful, aren't we? Just like these sprinkles." Zaynab pinched each sprinkle off her arm and placed them right into her mouth